workplace technology and design session, we will talk about the non-core, the departmental technology, departmental design, relationship of the departmental technology to structural and management characteristics, workflow interdependence among the departments, the impact of the technology on job design, and as usual the case study, research papers and book recommendations and references will be there. So, an organization no matter how well designed is only as the good as the people who live and work in it. So, the section shifts to the department level of the analysis for the development, not within the technical core, and the human resources, accounting, research and development and the marketing departments that are outside of the technical core are there. So, each of these and other non-core departments in an organization has its own production process that consists of a distinct technology. And the framework that has had the greatest impact of the understanding of the department technologies was developed by the Charles Perrow. And this Perrow's model has been useful for a broad range of technologies which made it ideal for the research into the departmental activities. In this case, this variety is the first dimension, and Perrow specified two dimensions of the departmental activities that were relevant to the organization structure and the processes. The first is the number of the exceptions in the work, and this refers to the task variety, which is the frequency of unexpected and the novel events that occur in the conversion process. Task variety concerns whether the work activities are performed the same way every time or they differ from time to time as employees transform the organization's inputs into the outputs are there. When the individuals encounter a large number of the unexpected situations with the frequent problems, variety is considered high. When there are the few problems and when day to day the job requirements are the repetitive, then the technology contains the little variety. Here the second dimension, which is very important, is the analyzability. The second dimension of technology of the analyzability of the work activities. When the conversion process is the analyzable, and the work can be reduced to the mechanical steps and the participants can follow an objective computational procedure to solve problems. Problem solutions may involve the use of the standard procedure such as the instructions and the manuals or the technical knowledge such as that it is a textbooks or the handbook. On the other hand, some work is not analyzable. When the problems arise, it is difficult to identify the correct solution. In the case of the analyzability, there is no store of the techniques or the procedure to tell a person exactly what to do. The cause of or the solution to a problem is not clear. So, employees rely on the accumulated experience, intuition and the judgments are there. The final solution is to problem is often the result of wisdom and experience and not the result of the standard procedures. These non-core departmental technology of the framework, the two dimensions of technology and examples of the departmental activities on Perrow's framework are shown in the following figure. The dimensions of variety and analyzability from the basis for the four major categories of the technology: routine, craft, engineering and the non-routines are there. So, the categories of technologies are the routine technologies are characterized by the little task variety and the use of the objective computational procedure. The tasks are the formalized and the standardized. Examples includes an automobile assembly line and the bank retailer department is there. The craft technologies are characterized by a fairly stable stream of the activities, but the conversion process is not analyzable or well understood. Task requires the extensive training and the experience because the employees they respond to the intangible factors on the basis of their wisdom, intuition and the experience. Although advance in the machine technology seems to be have reduced the number of the craft technologies in organizations, craft technologies are still important. Engineering technologies tend to be complex because there is a substantial variety in the tasks performed. However, the various activities are usually handled on the basis of the established formula, procedures and techniques. Employees normally refer to the well developed body of the knowledge to handle the problems. Engineering and accounting tasks usually fall in this particular category. Non-routine technologies have high task variety and the conversion process is not analyzing of the well understood. In non-routine technologies, a great deal of the effort is devoted to analyzing the problems and activities. The several equally acceptable options typically can be found. Experience and technical knowledge are used to solve problems and perform the work. The basic research, strategic planning and the other work that involves new projects of the unexpected problems are the non-routine problems. The blossoming the biotechnology industry also represents and the non-routine technology. Breakthrough understanding the metabolism and the physiology at a cellular level depend on highly trained employees who was there in their experiences and the intuition as well as the semantic knowledge is there. Now, when we talk about the non-core departmental technology, here we find that is the either first we will go through the routine, and in case of that is the variety in the routine is low. Then here we find that is the analyzability will be high. For example, when we talk about the sales, clerical, drafting and auditing is there, and here the analyzability will be very high. So, in the as compared to the non-routine is there. In the non-routine, when we find about that is a strategic planning, social science research and applied research is there. So, analyzability is here it is low, and in the case of this the variety is high, then it will be the legal, engineering, tax accounting and general accounting, while when the variety is when low and the analyzability is also low, then we find that is the performance arts, trades, fine goods manufacturing, university teaching, general management, that is a craft is there. So, the technology which will be used in case of this the high variety and the high analyzability will be, and that is about the legal, engineering, tax accounting and the general accounting is there. When the variety is high and analyzability is low, so therefore, the strategic planning and social sciences research that will be the applied research will be applicable. Now, here we find that is the departmental design. Now, once the nature of a department's technology has been identified, the appropriate design can be determined. The department technology tends to be associated with a cluster of the departmental characteristics such as the skill level of employees, formalization and the methods of communication. The overall design of the departments may be characterized as either organic or the mechanistic is there. Routine technologies are associated with the mechanism design with the formal rules and the management processes are there. Non-routine technologies are associated with an organic design and the department management is more flexible and free flowing. The specific design characteristics of the formalization, centralization, employee skill level, span of control and communication and coordination vary depending upon the work unit technologies are there. Now, when we talk about the formalization, that is routine technology is characterized by standardization and division of the labor into small tasks and that are governed by the formal rules and procedures. For the non-routine task, the structure is less formal and less standardized. When variety is high as in the research department, fewer activities are covered by the formal procedures. Decentralization is the routine technology. Most decisions making about the task activity is centralized to the management is there. In engineering technologies, employees with the technical training they tend to require the moderate and the decision authority because technical knowledge is important to task and accomplishment, and the decentralization to the employees is greater of the non-routine settings where the many decisions are made by an employee. So, employee skill levels work stuff in routine technologies typically require the little education or experience or with a congruent with the repetitious work activities are there. In work units with the greater variety staff are more skilled and often have the formal training in technical schools or the universities. The training for the craft activities which are the less analyzable is more likely to be through the job experience. Non-routine activities requires the both formal educational and job experience is there. The span of control, the number of the employees who report to a single managers or supervisors is the characteristics is a normal influence by the departmental technology. The more complex and non-routine the task, the more problems arise in which the supervisor becomes involved. Communication and coordinations or activity and the frequency increase, the task variety increases. Frequency problems require more information sharing to solve problems and ensure the proper completion of activities. And the direction of communication is typically horizontal in non-routine work and units and vertical in the routine work units are there. The form of the communication varies by the task analyzability. When the tasks are highly analyzable, statistical and written forms of the communication, example memos, then the reports, rules and the procedures are frequent. When tasks are the less analyzable, information typically is conveyed face to face over the telephoning or into the group meetings are there. Here the relationship of the departmental technologies to structural and management characteristics are there. Now the formalization, the centralization, staff qualifications and the span of control, communication and coordinations are these are the dimensions, key dimensions are there. Now in the mostly organic design, modern formalization is there. When we talk about the formalization, modern centralization is there, work experience is there and the moderate to wide span is there, horizontal verbal communication will be there. When we are talking about the routine jobs are there, so then high formalization, high centralization, little training or experience, then the wide span is there and the vertical written communications will be there. Now in the case of the organic design is concerned, low formalization, low centralization, training plus experience, moderate to narrow span and the horizontal communications meetings are there, that is a non-routine are there. Engineering mostly mechanistic design, modern formalization, moderate number centralization, formal training, moderate span, written and the verbal communications are there. So therefore this will be the routine and non-routine and the craft and in the engineering style where the relationship of the departmental technology to the structural and management characteristics are there. When we talk about the workflow interdependence among the departments, then it extends to which the departments depend on each other for information, resource or materials to accomplish their task. Low interdependence means that the departments can do their work independently of each other and they have the little need for the integration, consultation and the exchange of the materials are there. So high interdependence means the departments must constantly exchange the resources. James Thompson defined three types of the interdependence, that is the influence, organizational structure. So that is the pooled one. So pooled interdependence is the lowest form of the interdependence among the departments. In this form the work does not flow within the units. So each department is part of the organization and contributes to the common good of the organization but works independently. Thompson produced that the pooled interdependence would exist in form with what he called a mediating technology. A mediating technology provides products or services that mediate or link clients from these external environment, and in doing so each departments its work independently. Now workflow interdependence among these the bank, brokerage firms and real estate officers are mediates between the buyers and the sellers, but the offices work interdependently within the organization. Thompson argued that managers should use rules and procedures to standardize activities across the departments. Each department should use the same procedures and financial statements for the outcomes of the department can be measured and pooled. Very little day-to-day conditions with a small the required among the units are there. Sequential workflow is when the interdependence of the serial form which parts are produced in one departmental becoming the inputs to the another department, it is called the sequential interdependence. The first department must perform correctly by the second department to perform correctly. This is a higher level of interdependence than the pooled under interdependence, because the departments exchange resource and depend on others to perform well. The sequential interdependence creates a greater and for the horizontal mechanisms such as the integrated or the track factors are there. Sequential interdependence occur in what the Thompson called the long linked technologies. It refers to the combination of in new organization of successive stages of the production. In each case of the production uses its inputs, the production of the preceding stage and products inputs for the following stage. So, reciprocal, the highest level of the interdependence in the reciprocal interdependence is there, and this exists when the outcome of the operation A is input to the operation B and the output of the operation B is the input back again to the operation A. So, here we find out that is the outputs of the department influence those departments to reciprocate fashion. So, reciprocal interdependence tends to occur in the organization with what the Thompson called the intensive technologies, which provide a variety of the products or the service to the combination to a client. Reciprocal interdependence requires that departments work together intermittently and be tightly coordinated. A study of these top management team confirms that the effective performance of teams characterized by the high interdependence dependence on the good communication and the close coordination. People from the several departments might need to be involved in face-to-face coordination, teamwork, and the decision making is there. Now, here we will talk about the Thompson's classification of the interdependence and management implications are there. So, form of the interdependence are that is a pull, link, bank is there, client, sequential, and the reciprocal is there, what we have talked in the above slides. So, the demands on the horizontal communication and decision making will be low communication, medium communication, and the high communication will be there. The type of the coordination required is standardized rules, procedures, divisional results are there. Plan, schedule, self-feedback is there. Then the mutual adjustment, relational coordination and teamwork is there. So, priority for the location units close together, and the low, medium and the high priorities that will be decided for the pooled bank, the sequential and the reciprocal hospitals are concerned. Coordinating this interdependence in business, that is Thompson theorized that the correct way to get the departments within an organization working together effectively is to structure respective work of task by intensity of interdependence, and then they manage each of those interdependencies with the different coordinated methods. For example, a pooled interdependency requires the standardization in the rules and operates the procedures, while the coordination method for the other two interdependence are the slightly more flexible. A sequential interdependence is managed through the mildly adaptive planning and the scheduling, while reciprocity interdependent departments are the managed through the constant information sharing and the mutual adjustments are there. This impact of the technology on the job design will be, that is the ultimate impact of the technology that can be partially understood through the concern of the job design and the socio-technical systems are concerned. So, job design includes the assessment of these goals and tasks to be accomplished by the employees. Managers may consciously change the job design to improve the productivity or the worker motivation. However, managers may also unconsciously influence job design through the information of new technologies, which can change how the jobs are done and their nature of jobs are there. Managers should understand how these introduction of the new technologies may affect the employees' jobs are there. In addition to actually replacing the human workers, technology may have the several different effects on the human jobs. Research has indicated that the mass production technologies tend to produce the job simplification, which means that the variety of any difficulty of tasks performed by a single person are reduced the consequence of the being boring repetitive jobs that generally provide by the little satisfaction. So, sometimes the managers introduce the job rotation rotations, which means the moving employees from the job to job to give them a greater work variety of the task. More advanced technologies on the other hand tends to cause the job enrichment, meaning that the job providers greater responsibility, recognition and opportunities for the growth and the development is there. Digital manufacturing and the other advanced technologies may also contribute to the job requirement, which is in turn the expansion of the number of the different tasks performed by an employees. So, fewer employees are the needed with the new technologies are there. So, what will be the impact? The impact will be socio-technical systems. The socio-technical systems approach recognizes the interaction of the technical and human needs in an effective job design, combining the needs of the people with the organization's need for the technical efficiency. The socio portion of the approach refers to the people and groups that work in organization and how the work organizations are correlated. The technical portion refers to the materials, tools, managers and the processes used to transform the organization inputs into the outputs are concerned. The following figure therefore illustrate the three primary composition of the socio-technical systems. The social system includes the human resources such as the individual and team behavior, organizational culture, system and the practices and degree of the communication, openness that can influence the performance of the work is there. The technical system refers to the type of this production and the technology, the level of the interdependence, the compatibility with the task and the force is there. The goal of the socio-technical system approaches is to design the organization of the joint organization, which means that an organization functions best when the social and the technical systems are designed to fit the need of the one another. The socio-technical systems approach attempts to find a balance between the what workers want to and what the technical requirements of the organization's production systems are there. Here we find out the socio-technical systems model, and that is the social system and the technical system is there. So, here it is the individual and the team behavior is there, organization, team culture will be there, and these management practices and leadership style that will lead towards a degree of communication individual for the designing of the job optimization. For example, what is the person, how his communication skills are there, what are the managerial practices he knows and degree of these individual needs and desire to grow, and this will give the technical systems input also. Type of the production strategy he has been used, level of the independent the pool required as the reciprocal, then the physical and start working, the complexity of the production process, variety and analyzability, nature of raw materials and the time pressures are there. These impact of the technology of the job design of the socio-technical system principles that states that the people should be viewed as resources and provided with the appropriate skills, meaningful work and the suitable rewards becomes the even the more important in today's world of the growing technological complexity. So, one study of the paper manufacturers found that the organization that put too much faith in the machines and technology and pay little attention to the appropriate management of the people do not activate analyzing the productivity and flexibility is there. So, today's the most successful campaign strive for to find out the right mix of the machines, digital systems and people and the most effective way to coordinate them is there. So, although the many principles of these socio-technical systems theory are still valid, current scholars and researchers are also arguing for in the expansion of the approach to the capture the dynamic nature of the today's organizations and this chaotic environment, and the shift from the routine is non-routine joint brought that is about the advances in the technology is there. So, how far and how fast is the automation of the task proceeding is there. So, how technology affects the job design, the recently change. Initially computers had largely automated the tasks that could be well defined and studied by the humans, either the traditionally the computer programs that is speedy and guided by the humans, traditional and here these recently how a computer scientist and that makes the significant stages in the machine machine learning to which consideration develops. They evaluate and their own algorithm with the little or no human interventions are there. So, these impact now opportunities the automation of the cognitive task and this is moreover the such algorithm may improve mobility, dexterity, vision and the recognition of the robotics, increasing the automation of the physical task is there. For example, automobile manufacturing are adopting the computer vision and the robotics in the assembly processes. Meanwhile, the financial services firms are adopting the machine learning and the next recognition technique in this risk assessment and the service operations. Individually, the humans may be substituted by the machines into the particular task. Then here the future job should be designed to ensure complementary between the machine prediction outputs of the worker task, and an excellent example is the evaluation of the radiological scans are there. So, it allows for that is examination of far more scans than that could be evaluated by the humans and that increase the likelihood and directing a medical problem. This also fills off a radiologist time to interpret the automation impress identified by the algorithm and work individuality with patients to develop the customized treatment plan tasks that are safely out of the reach of the automation is there. This is the case study Mayo Hospitals which you can refer and find out that is the how they admitted to treatment to the point he is discharged, and then at the time of the discharge how the person has been documented his the all his different field of the required items and these directly form a part of the hospital staff such as the medicine supplies and the other hospital equipment suppliers are there. So, this is a gap in the communication between the any of these departments may lead to a hitch in the patient's proper quality treatment. So, my hospitals are known to have a smooth functioning treatment process. Radiology, here we will find that is the hospital has its centers which is spread across the various cities in the country, and head is used to their efficient relational coordination systems. The patients can be treated success as and any of the hospital central authority any glitch is there. In this kind of study you will also find that is the how the extremely crucial in cases where the doctors from the different fields of specialization they are coming together, and when there is a intersegmental function is there, and that is the here the patient's quality of treatment is no way is compromised. However, the senior doctors are encouraged to maintain a two-way earning process rather than the act just as the bosses is there. So, proper coordination between the interns, nurses, senior doctors and the head of the departments under which a patient is admitted is the most crucial for ensuring the effective and the efficient treatment of the patient. Since working together forms a vital part of the setting, treating on these employees to work as a team management importance are there. So, the hospital seeks to recruit the employees who possesses a collaborative attitude and can easily get and work well with the others rather than the focus on their individual goals for the becoming the successful is there. The hospital work with the philosophy that when there is a patient or the entire team succeeds together or they all fall together. By using these practices that support the teamwork, shared goals, mutual respect and shared responsibility and accountability. So, Mayo facilitates the relational coordination that interdependent departments are largely distributed. So, here we find this is a research paper, new organizations and new workplace, and the purpose of this paper is to outline key changes occurring within the office occupier business that will have a medium to long term impact upon the nature and design of the office to workplace and the implications for the corporate real estate manager is there. So, this paper will be also talking about the quantitative and qualitative demands of the space. There is a number of the practical implications arising from these funding, no test, the need for the invention to consider the appropriation of the current standards for the best building design and the fit out of the contemporary offices are there. Now, this research paper's outcome will be definitely will be practically very useful for the corporate real estate manager, and while much has been written about the agile working, the less has covered the practical implication of the building design and the corporate real estate management is there. This is the book, the participatory IT design, and authors are the Kjeld Bodker, Fina Kingser, and the Zephyr Simonson. For the designing for business and the workplace realities, it will help you to getting the detail into how these IT design and participation will help for the success of the organization. And this book recommends about the industrial design provides for the compliance and organizations broadcasting corporation is there. So, therefore, here you will find in depth analysis and innovation is required, and in the part 3 explains the methods, the 16 techniques and the related representation tools, that is offering first an overview and then specific description of each, and the these separate sections are there. And these are the references. You can refer these references for your further detailed studies, which will be guiding you, that is the how this technology that is making a change in designing the issue of this organization. Thank you.